There we go. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen quick just to put up a fun little graphic so that we can introduce each other. As I mentioned, we've got a mix of communities here. We've got the Patreon community for Get Literate. We've got some teachers here and coaches in the educator world that aren't in the community, but I just put it all out there to have a fun get together. And then I know there are some people, maybe not here, but they'll be watching, that aren't even educators at all, which is not my world's educators, but I love it that I'm getting to interact with more just plain old readers. So we've got a nice mix. So let me share the screen. Well, let's head to the chat box and introduce ourselves. I'd love to know who you are and where you are, although I know many of you on the call, but then I'd love for you to take a look at this graphic and tell me out of those choices, what kind of reader are you? And I'm just going to pin my video. So it's pretty much, I think, just mine that shows on the recording. I think I did that right. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. So we've got the monogamist reader, single task, one book, rereader. We've got the extrovert who just will grab everything, likes new books, will jump into every genre. Are you a polygamist, multitask reader, read lots of books at one time, never mixes things up in your head? The altruist reader, the helper, the reader recommends hug reading list to friends and family. And then we've got the introvert, which is pretty self-explanatory, or the neurotic reader, easily distracted, switches between books, hard to finish a book because of that. I would love to know if you could only pick one, which one would you be? So who you are, where you are, and what kind of reader you are. Dawn, you know, it's funny. I can see you as an altruist, but I was thinking maybe you were going to be an extrovert reader because you go deep and wide in your genres. I was trying to look at the people in the call and like label you in a very nice, loving way, of course, of what your reader might be.
I was thinking back and forth between those, but
Yeah.
I do love, I have my shirt that says book pusher, and people are always emailing me on the side saying, or texting me, what book should I read? What book should I read? So I thought that would fit me well.
Yeah, I have a friend, she's a college professor in Maryland, and she calls herself a book dealer. And she's got a shirt with book dealer too. We've got lots of altruist readers, helper, extrovert. Yeah, I love little Amy, you like to have more than one book going at a time? My brain cannot do that. Maybe a professional and a personal book, but I could never do two fiction. My brain would just get messed up.
I like to listen to a book and also have a book that I'm reading, so I can usually manage that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a different modality to try to do. I've tried doing an adult book and then read a middle grade, and I can't even really do that. Like I can, but I don't prefer it. I've got to do one and go to the next one. I'm definitely a monogamist reader.
Amy, I'm similar. I'll have a book going in the car because I just feel like I'm wasting time if I don't have a book going. And then I do try to go between an adult and a middle grade just to keep all the plates going.
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to try to alternate, read one adult, read one middle grade, read and go back and forth that way to try to get my balance in. I haven't been balanced lately. I went on a spree of adult fiction, and now I'm on a spree of middle grade fiction. I've got to get back to the back and forth. But Amy Soto, you'd be happy to know there are about 4 picture books in my stack right now. Amy
Oh, that's
Soto is the
awesome.
picture book maven. Yeah, I've got a couple in there. One I've got to give away today too, which is good. All righty. So let me move this chat box. I just wanted to have a space, and you can play around with the way that you see people on the call. So if you go up to the top of where your pictures are, you can change it so that you've got the gallery view and you can see everybody, so that it feels more community-like. I don't think it'll all be, I think my picture only and the screen will be in the video. But I really just wanted a space to come together and just talk about books, to chat about books and summer reading and get excited about the summer season coming up. How many of you on the call are already in your summer? Like, is school over for you? I know in New York, we still got a little ways to go, but I know for some of us in other parts of the country, their summer is already underway, where I'm still in preparing mode for summer vacation. Amy, that was a quick no. Nope, still there. Couple of weeks left, right? Couple of weeks left. Laura, you've been in summer for a month. Oh my gosh, Susan, you finished yesterday. Okay, sending a few little jealous vibes your way. I work all summer, but my schedule gets lighter. I only teach 2 classes. So it's still a summer vacation. But my kids, my high schoolers are out, just a couple more weeks for the rest of them. Dawn, that's right. You were done yesterday too. Wow. Okay. So I just wanted to have a space where we could come together and just talk books, talk reading. We have book clubs every month inside my community, and those are great. But I really love when we just crowdsource titles and talk about things that we're doing to really just make life better, whether it's reading and writing or not. So I've got a couple of things planned, and I'm going to say planned in air quotes because it's not a professional development. It's not a workshop. It's just a space where we're all kind of coming together. I've got a couple of ideas to kickstart a summer reading season. And then I've got books to share that are fairly new, that are on my TBR, and I'm hoping we will all throw in some titles in the chat box, and I'll put them together in a document. And then I've got some prizes to have fun. We already gave away book journals. I've got books to give away, some digital books, some actual physical snail mail books, a little trivia in between. So just a space to have a little bit of fun. My summer goal was that I needed to have more fun. And by golly, I'm going to plan to have more fun. Okay, so let's start. Let me stop sharing my screen for a minute so I can see everybody. Let's start with a trivia question. First person to answer this correctly in the chat box gets Ellen Hildebrand's Troubles in Paradise. It's a book set in St. John, which is perfect kind of summertime read. So first person to answer it correctly, and you can throw in as many answers as you'd like if we don't have it. Here we go. I got my chat box open so I can see. How many pages does Warren Buffett say that we should read every day because he believes knowledge compounds like compound interest? How many pages of a book does Warren Buffett think we should read each day? Oh man, you're cold. You better put some more guesses in there. Nobody's got it yet. Not yet. Oh, Susan, 500. Yes, you're the first person I saw 500. He says, there's an article that I read, that yes, he believes everybody should read 500 pages a day. I'm not sure what else we would do. If that were the case, maybe Warren Buffett can, because he's a bazillionaire and he can read books all day. But yeah, he thinks if the world read 500 pages a day, that all of our knowledge would compound on each other and the world would be a better place. So let me just write that down so I remember who wins what. Have you read Troubles in Paradise? Oh, good. Good. Okay, because if you did, I was going to swap it out. Okay.
No, but I like that author, so I'm excited. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. And I'll already have your address because you were one of the first 5 in there. Man, you're got some loot coming your way in bookish snail mail. Okay. So if I said to you, I've got 3 things that I'm doing to boost my own reading life that I think all of us should do, what do you think the 3 things that I would say are? I know a lot of you know me pretty well. And you're probably like, oh, I know what she's going to say. She's going to say to make a book stack. I'm not going to say that. So you don't have to put that one in the chat box. Yeah, see, Karen, you know me. Have the TBR list, have the book stack. It's actually, nope, that is not one of my 3 this time. Oddly enough, journal, read widely. Nope, none of those yet. 3 different things that I am thinking about really carefully over summer. Set time to read, go to the library, really good things, but nope. Although I will ultimately do those things. I do have to set time aside, and so do you. We all likely will go to the library. Oh, read outside is a good one, but nope. I love that I'm stumping people. Ooh, Amy, you're getting close. That's one of them. Making connections, building the community. Yeah, there's 3 things that I have been really thinking about. Oh, Michelle, you know I love an author's backstory. Yes, that's not one of them, but one I love to do. 3 things that I've been thinking about that I thought we could chat about here. One is, what are our rules going to be for summer reading? What are the rules we're going to set up for ourselves? After having that conversation with Christy Zimmer, if you haven't listened to the most recent episode of my podcast, oh, it was such a fun conversation about what our reading rules are and why they matter and how they can give us clues into our actual life too. It was really fun. We've got a handout. I'll put the link in the chat box in a second. So I'm thinking about my reading rules. And then the second thing I'm doing is I'm making reading a ritual. I'm making it a ritual, which means I'm making time for it and I'm clearing my schedule. But I've been really inspired by our book club selection this month, which is Gretchen Rubin's Life in 5 Senses. And I've been thinking more about how to make reading and writing a 5 sense experience and how that just makes it better and how it just makes the whole idea of reading better. So that's the second one, thinking about reading as a ritual, specifically with the 5 senses. And then my third one is to find the community. Because I can have lots of goals, but unless I have a little bit of FOMO, right? Unless I know someone's counting on me to read that particular book or to show up in that space, other things, other things take our time. Other things get on the to-do list. So I've been thinking even more about community, where I get my book titles from, who I talk books with, who I try to do that in person as well as in Zoom. I've got my bookish 23 and 23 project of trying to go to as many different bookish events as possible. So I'm really trying to prioritize that this summer too. So those are my 3. So your ideas are close, but those are my 3. I've got thinking about my summer reading rules, making reading a ritual, specifically through the 5 senses, and finding the community. And those are the things that I'm hoping we can just have a fun chat about at first. So I want to open it up by talking about reading rules. And so I'm going to share my screen again, just to put the handout up in case you haven't downloaded it yet. I'm skipping around. So let me escape here. This was like a dream come true for me, this little collaboration. I've been following Christy Zimmer for a while. I love her printable journal pages. They're beautiful. They're bright. They're colorful. They all kind of look like this. And they're all really reflective, but fun. Really just a neat way to bring a different level of creativity to your journal. And if you are a teacher, these are really fun to then recreate with students too. But I invited her on the podcast to talk about her particular journaling method, and she collaborates with people to create new pages together. And I may have come right out and asked her to make one with me. And she did. We came up with this. We just had a podcast episode on it, and it's about our rules. How do we make our reading rules? And then the fun part, how might we break them so they work even better for us? So I'm going to actually pull up the rules page, and if you haven't downloaded the reading rules yet, I will put it into the chat box in a minute. But here it is. There's 2 pages, 1 page for making your reading rules, and then 1 page for breaking them. So I'd love to open it up, and you can go in the chat box, you can unmute yourself, and we can talk. What are some of your personal reading rules? Whether you like those rules you've set for yourself or you don't, whether someone else taught you what that rule was, or it's just something you've grown to kind of make for yourself. What are some of your reading rules? Let me pull up the chat box here. Oh, use a bookmark, never fold. I'm with you. I'm with you. There's another one, bookmark. We've got some comments like, yeah, you can always like the other rules that appeal to you too. One of my rules, and it's just because it works for me, that I mentioned in the beginning, is I just read one book at a time, one pleasure book at a time. Don't read the end until the end. Yep, no skipping around. Yeah, another rule, write a review in Goodreads for the books that you've read. It's okay to stop reading a book if I don't like it. That one took me a really long time to learn. And I admit, I still have to remind myself that it is okay to abandon a book. I'm really good at telling other people to stop reading a book they don't like, but I feel bad if I do it. I just dropped my pen. I gotta grab it. What other rules do we got? You might think of your book handling rules like bookmarks or ebooks. Are they the same as ebooks or audiobooks, regular books? At least a few chapters in. Yep, that's usually my rule too. I gotta at least give it a fair shake. How about the time that you read? Like, is one of your rules that you can't read until your so-called work is done? Like, do you have a certain place that you read? So we've got book handling rules, but then we've also got like the actual reading rules of themselves. Do you annotate in the books? Do you let yourself write in them or put sticky notes or put book darts? Does reading come after all the other stuff is on the to-do list? Are you a morning reader? Are you an afternoon reader? Do you need a 20-minute block of time or you just can't get into it? Or can you read in 5-minute clips, sitting in the car waiting to pick someone up from a baseball game? Or is that just not something that you do? It's just fun to think about what our rules might be. And again, rules is really loosely defined, but what are the ways you find yourself acting in your reading life, just probably unconsciously? And then what are the rules you want to set for yourself this summer? When you think about what you want your summer reading experience to be like, what do you want it to be like? Again, you can put in the chat box, you can unmute yourself. Like, what do you imagine as your best reading life this summer? Is it reading in the morning before the day gets away from you? Is it reading outside? Is it a whole half an hour? Is it a whole hour? Ooh, reading at the beach. Is it reading only personal books, like no professional books on your list this summer? Ooh, the sunny front. Oh, after writing and meditation on the sunny front porch. That sounds beautiful. Reading more, getting outside more, the pool, the beach. Is it actual books? Do you see yourself holding a real book? And by real, I mean printed. Do you see yourself holding an ebook? Are you listening to more books? Which would be your choice if you had to choose a rule to start with? Printed books, but a balance of novels, middle grade. Those darn library books. I know they do keep coming in. Oh, this is a good rule. Let's knock off the books we already have instead of purchasing more. Such a hard rule, but yes. We had a whole month inside my Patreon community where we pledged not to buy new books and to read our shelves. I don't know if we all made that rule. We may have broken it once or twice, but we made a much better effort than we did the rest of the year. Abby, I love that rule. Only reading fun fiction. No professional books for the first time in a while. Yeah, we need that. We need the break. We need the rejuvenation. What else do we got? Reading on the patio, listening and printed. Yeah, so I'd love for you, if you have a piece of paper, if you have a sticky note, or if you want to type something on the notes in your phone, if you could set 3 reading rules for yourself, jot down what they might be. It could be read by the pool every day. Only read fun fiction. Read before my to-do list is done. Whatever your rules might be based on the kind of reading life you might want to have. Yeah, reading around the edges. Oh, I love that phrase. When big blocks of time are not available. That's how I get most of my reading done, in 5-minute clips. I'm lucky that my brain allows me to just jump in and jump out. I think that's why I can only read 1 book at a time. I don't know if I could do that if there were other storylines in my head. Yeah, so maybe that's a goal, or maybe a rule for your summer is to find a 20-minute block that you can read, or a 20-minute walk where you put an audiobook in your earbuds. So I would love for you to share your 3 in the chat box. What are the 3 things that could give you a good boundary around your reading life to have the kind of summer reading season that you want to have? Mine are that I'm going to read in the morning. I'm going to annotate my book. I want to get better at letting myself write inside the books that I own, or using sticky notes inside the library pages. So read in the morning. I want to get better at annotating. And I want to make a rule for myself to connect with at least one person that I think would like the book. I joke about this all the time, but guys, I'm still working in my basement. I don't see a whole lot of people still. And so I am changing that this summer, whether it's a phone call, a text, a coffee date, something where I can take each of the books I read and think about one person that would like it and then actually connect with them. And Amy, you were let's see, where did yours go? Yeah, journal about your reading. I love that. So Amy, I love it. You're bookending your day. We're going to read every morning and we're going to read a little bit every night. I love it. Oh, I'll read with my grandchildren. Michelle, is MS novels middle school, middle grade, middle school? Yeah. Alternate between middle grade and adult. Listen during my morning walk instead of music. Yeah, I'm a podcast listener. That is, I could set that rule for myself too. Get the podcast off of the walk and instead listen to, I keep saying a book on tape. It is so old, but an audiobook. I keep thinking of those playaways. Oh, Laura, I love it. Read at least 1 hour every day. read what my daughter is reading. I would love to do like Donalyn Miller, let's channel her and do a book a day, but kind of like Warren Buffett, that would be really hard to do, but what a goal to just say at least an hour stretch to be able to read. Share favorites on social media. Read on a walk, read more widely. Those are good rules for you, Dawn, but I love when you're distracted by the shiny new books because you share them with us. More books on my TBR. Journal my reading. Yeah, so I actually would love to hear more about that because journaling has come up a couple of times. How do you, if your goal is to journal or if you do book journal, how do you do that? You just have a notebook where you jot ideas? Do you have a particular book journal? What kinds of things do you actually want to journal about? I have, well, I have a book journal, but I also have a quote journal, and I love pulling quotes from the books I've read, but I'd love to know what kinds of things that you might journal about. Lessons learned. Yeah, I always love the big takeaways. Takeaways and quotes. Ooh, a line a day from what I've read. Yeah, I love that too. Quotes from books, lessons, lists of people to recommend it to. Yeah, this is one thing I'm going to be really trying to push myself with over the summer, to annotate in the books, maybe journal outside of it as well, but to really think about what I'm trying to get out of it. Favorite quotes, big takeaways, the feelings. Yeah, we all love Anne Bogle. Favorite quotes, thoughts, impressions. Awesome. Okay, so now we have 3 rules, right? So we've kind of made our rules. We won't talk about them here, but if you have the handout, this one is really fun too, is breaking those rules, which some of you may have done. You may have thought about what your typical reading rules are and then decided what you want to have this summer, which could have been keeping some of those rules going strong or breaking them. Like finding an hour time to read might be really hard to do in the school year, but in a summer reading season is a little bit easier. So this second page is just really fun to think about where those rules came from, if we actually like them, if they serve us or not, and then how we can change them so that we can have a better reading experience, and for us, a better summertime kind of reading experience. So I'm going to go ahead and put, well, actually, I'll do that in a second. Let me just write a note to put that link. Oh no, I already did that. Hang on. I forgot. I made this. Okay, so let me get the link to share this. This is just a little handout that I made with all the links I wanted to share, and I forgot that I made it. Okay, so it's got a little overview. The second page is my favorite. I've shared this at a reading retreat with my community before. It's your permission slip for complete and guilt-free indulgence over the summer reading season. I've got some more information. I love habits, hearts, and communities. We've got some things, but there will be the reading rules if you haven't downloaded it yet. So let me just pop into the chat box. Permission slip is awesome, isn't it? I love that idea. We used to make them for my students, and then I thought, we get one too. Adults need it even more because we get taken away from everything. And there's a couple of other things that I'll share in the handout in a minute. So what I'm going to do though, what is it? It is June 17th. On August 17th, you can expect an email from me that says, how are those reading rules going? I'm going to pop back into your inbox to haunt you and to see how those reading rules are going. And feel free to do the same to me to keep me on my toes too. But hopefully those 3 rules that you have, and you can always make more, hopefully they will set you up for a really fun reading season. Okay. Step 2 is to make reading a ritual. And this applies to writing as well, but we're talking about reading, to make it a ritual. And again, this is something I've been focusing on because I've been reading Gretchen Rubin's Life in 5 Senses, which is just all about using your senses to make life better. And I think it has a lot of really great applications to reading and writing too, just really making it an experience instead of just something that we do. It just heightens it even more. So head to the chat box for me. When you read, do you do anything already? Like not for this summer, but what is something that you do related to the 5 senses that really makes reading a ritual or an experience for you? Do you light a candle? Do you get the comfy socks? Do you have the blanket? Do you go to a certain spot so that you can see something like the outdoors? Abby drinks a hot cup of tea. Mine would be coffee. But what else? Candles. Oh yeah, having doggies read with us is always a fun one. So I just went up in our comments and I scrolled all the way up and I stopped. And then the first person I saw who made comments on our reading rules gets this adorable picture book. The Umbrella. Don't know if you know it. If it's new for you, it's Beth Ferry and Tom Lichtenheld. I got to meet her at a recent children's literature conference. So Amy Smith, you were the comment that I saw when I scrolled up. So this will be for you. I bet you're 4th grade.
Thank you.
Are you still in 4th grade? Well,
I am in 4th grade. I use picture books all the time as mentor text. So
there you go. So this will be a good one for a couple of different.
thank you.
So that is for you. Let me just write that down. So thank you for commenting. Okay, what else do we got? Outside when possible, drinking coffee. Ooh, a blanket in the recliner. Love it. Outside until it gets too hot. Oh, you're a multitasker, Amy Soto. Yeah. Audiobooks do things like craft or rugs. I have been getting better. I think for me, when I would read before, it was always coffee because I'm a big reader in the morning. And then depending on the season, it's the blanket, it's the coziness of the spot that I'm sitting at. Oh, here's bringing nature, sunshine, the beach. Yeah, so those are the things that you found yourself doing. If you think about how this summer you may make it even more of a ritual, let's brainstorm some ideas. So if you're someone that always lights a candle, you've got the sense of smell already going in your reading ritual. But how might you bring in a different sense? Anybody use those is it ASMR? I forget what that even stands for, but the ASMR rooms where you can go on YouTube and play background noise of a bookstore or play the ocean in the background so that you've got the whatever soundscape that you wanted. I've been experimenting with that. I just did the bookstore one the other day. And thankfully the voices are low enough where I'm not trying to listen to, even pretend fake conversations online. But ASMR rooms, I gotta remember what that stands for, are one way that I would, or I'm going to try to experiment. Beach sounds in the back. Yeah, rain. Yeah, so think about a sense that you don't use yet in your reading life that you might be able to bring in this summer? Candles, essential oils for smells. Hearing is maybe the ASMR rooms or just the birds if you're outside. Taste could be the tea, the hot tea, the cold tea, the coffee, the snack. The sight could be the scenery, right? If you're inside, maybe you put up a new picture frame with your favorite bookish quote on it and you read by that, or you go out to a site that you'd like. And touch could be a whole bunch of things. It could be the blanket. It could be where you sit. It could be having the physical book in your hand. I just got one of those, I don't know what they're called. It's a piece of wood with a hole in it that if you set it on your book, you can keep your book open with just like one finger. You kind of put your finger in the hole of the wood. This sounds really strange, but it's harder for me to hold the books open. And that is a genius little thing that keeps your pages open without having to hold it too tightly. Oh, good, Laura. I've explained it enough that you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, so that could be something with touch. It could be the bookmark you use if it's got some sort of texture to it. It really does seem to matter. And Gretchen Rubin has a whole bunch of research on why thinking about our five senses is important just to our daily life. And we can really make that connection pretty quickly to how it can just make any experience better. And it just turns a routine into a ritual. And if you go from a routine to a ritual, then you are more likely to engage in it. At least that's what the research shows, because it's more enjoyable. It's more presence. And since our hobbies, our leisure, our reading life can be some of the first things that go when life gets busy, if it is a ritual that makes us feel better and fills us up, then hopefully it'll be something that we stick to. Amy, yes, the pug snores. You don't need a YouTube video for that. We can just go to Amy's house and get the dogs in the background. Yes, the book holder thing. That's the technical term that I've come up with. Let me jot that down so I will put it in our notes. I want to say I got it on Etsy, but I'll look it up and I'll put it there. Okay. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any more. So on your sticky note or your piece of paper, if you have your 3 rules, I'd love for you to jot down one thing from these 5 senses that you have not tried in your reading life yet that you could this summer to make it more of a fun ritual. I'm going to keep trying the ASMR rooms when I'm reading inside, at least, to give that ambiance. I'll have to link to the bookstore one that I'm enjoying. It's neat. It's like being in a very subdued Starbucks.
Can I share my little book light?
Please.
It looks like a book. I got this for Mother's Day, but when you open it, it looks like a book laying down, and you can have that ambiance. So I saw this. I think I heard about it on a book podcast, but then my daughter bought it for me for Mother's Day.
I remember that on your feed now, on your I love that.
So if you want a little something for some sight, ambiance, some light, yep, it's on Amazon.
Okay.
You can plug it in to just recharge it.
Well, I'll be going to Amazon afterwards, because seeing it in person with you do that is neat. That definitely elevates it a little bit. Okay. Light on Amazon. All righty. So go to the chat box. What's your one thing? What is your one sensory experience that you are going to try? Pool floating, the audiobook. Ooh, for my sense of touch. Enhance my experience with some sounds, lighting a candle. Yeah, I love the essential oil thingies, diffusers. That's always a good one too. Soundscapes. AirPods with a book. Oh, thank you, Laura. Got a link to the book thingy. The book holder open thingy. Try out ASMR. I will get together the links for the ones that I'm using and I'll send it in the follow-up email. There we go. And Amy, let's see, Amy S., you were the first person to jot down the one that you were going to try. So I'm going to send you, well, I was going to send you the book if I'm going on my list, but I think you may have read this. Amy S., have you read Burst?
Burst.
Burst, yeah, it's
No.
a Zibby Books. I can't remember who is the author now. Okay. And Amy, oh, that's right. There's two Amy S's. I was thinking of Amy Soto because I gave you the umbrella.
Oh,
Amy Soto, did you read Burst?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to make sure it is in an audiobook. So
Aw.
you will get Burst as the audiobook. And if
Thank
not,
you.
I will send the Plan B book.
Oh, thank you.
Audiobook your way. Let me just jot that down. And I'll get together the list of the ASMR rooms on YouTube that I've been loving, and I'll make sure to send them back, to send those in the notes. I'll send out the recording and the handout and a couple of other things as we start bringing them up. I'll include the link to the holder thingy too. Okay, so we've got 3 rules. We've got one thing we're going to try to make it a ritual. And now I want to talk, the third thing was community. So how can we stay in this launch party space, right? When you leave a session like this, you're like, yeah, I'm going to read. I've got my books. I'm going to do it every day. And then, you know, we leave the Zoom and life happens and all sorts of things get in the way. And all the research shows that if you have an accountability something, then you will do more of the thing you want to do, whether that's an accountability buddy, right? Like a workout partner, whether that's a Facebook group that you're part of, something that reminds you and holds you accountable in a nice way that you want to do this thing or this thing matters to you. So tell me in the chat box, what do you already do to kind of put yourself inside our reading community? Are you part of a Facebook group? I know some of you are inside Get Literate, which is certainly a community. Do you have a in-person book club? Do you make it a point to go to the library and chat titles every week? Do you have a bookstore you love to go to, your favorite salesman or your favorite bookseller? What are some of the things that you do to put yourself into a reading community already? Oh, Dawn, is that the link to the light? Awesome. I'll make sure I lift that out. Mother-daughter book club. I love that, with 4 mother-daughter friends. I don't know if I knew that, Michelle. That's awesome.
It's something new that we started, but it's my daughter and her 3 closest friends and their mothers. So the 8 of us are in a mother-daughter book club.
I love
And
that.
it started with Lessons in Chemistry.
Oh, such a good one.
Yeah, it was a great book. We had a great discussion about it, and yeah, great.
I love it. I love it. Look at all the stuff come in-person book clubs. Advisor My School book club. First Draft Book Bar. Where did that just one go? Laura, tell me about the First Draft Book Bar. Is that a bookstore near you? I want a book bar.
Yeah, it's inside of our bookstore Changing Hands, and then there's a bar You can get coffee, wine, beer, food, and then you just sit around the bar. Yep, and it's
Okay.
inside the bookstore.
Okay, that sounds awesome. We do not have a book bar near me. That would be so much fun. Oh, I love that. Definitely a place to build a bookish community. Yes, we've got in-person things, but then we've got online. So posting the books you're reading on Instagram, finding other Instagrammers or social media people that talk about the books they read. Abby, I'm glad you're here too. We certainly have a nice, fun, strong community here. Virtual book club, indie bookstore meetups, Boxer. Yeah, Bookish podcast. Bookish podcast, even though they're one way, they don't feel that way. You feel like you're part of that bookish community. Love it. Okay, make sure I didn't miss any. Yeah, so I just urge you to think about one or two things you could do to put yourself more strongly inside a book community. Now, obviously, if you're in Get Literate, you get reminders, what, twice a week? You get an extra episode, you get First Chapter Friday, we've got book clubs and things. But even just setting a goal for yourself, like I would love to say I'm going to the book bar once a week, or go to the library every other week, or just text a bookish friend, post once on social media each week, go on Goodreads and browse the feed and get that FOMO of everybody else who's reading and reviewing books. So I'd urge you to think about which one would be best for you. Are you more of an in-person community and you need that in-person vibe to keep going strong, or is a virtual community enough for you? A Facebook group, an Instagram post, listening to a podcast. So I would think about you and who you are and decide, I need something in person, or no, I'm okay with online, even if it's online like this when we're live. And then pick something. I've got in the handout, I'm going to share my screen again. I've got a little bingo board. I think I copied it. No, I didn't copy it. It's over here. Scroll. I've got a bingo board, and these are things that'll help you build your habits, your hearts, your communities all summer long. But it could be something like finding a new free little library, getting out to a new spot, going to a bookstore, going on some sort of bookish field trip. One of the things that Zibby Books does, so if you know Zibby, you probably know this, but if you don't know Zibby Owen, she has that podcast called Moms Don't Have Time to Read Books, and it's a daily podcast with a new author. It is so hard to keep up. But she also has a brand new bookstore in Los Angeles. And what I love that she's done that other bookstores have not yet, she has an author event in person in her bookstore, I would say almost every day. She sends out this weekly email that says, here are the, 7 to 10 authors that'll be in the bookstore this week. And every single one of them are live streamed on YouTube. So I love it because so many bookstores have these great events, but not all of them are also online. So if you can't get to them, you miss them. She has, for the past 2 weeks, she has had at least one live streamed bookstore event with booksellers, with the authors, with all sorts of people every day. So it may be just finding a podcast, finding a YouTube channel, finding a live stream, or saying my local bookstore, I'm going to go to at least once over the summer. That goes a long way to helping you stay accountable to the fun reading season that you want to have. And it seems weird to say fun and accountable in the same sentence, but it's a good kind of accountability. And it's also inspiration, right? Because you get new book titles, you get new ideas, you have a lot of fun. So on that sticky note or that piece of paper, 3 rules, one way to make reading a ritual. Jot down one thing you could do this summer to stay connected to a larger reading community and keep this kind of fun or this bookish energy up high. And I'd love to know the one thing, of course, in the chat box. Yeah, field trips are fun. I have been saying for years that there should be book crawls, like there are beer crawls and all sorts of where you just hop into a bus and you just get driven to all the bookstores in the local area, and there's a different drink and a different snack at each one. Oh, love that. Visit the library. Yeah, read a new author. That is yet another way to build your reading community, right? It may feel one-sided, but just broadening who you're reading is another way to feel more connected. I know, Michelle, right? We need a book crawl like up and down the eastern, New York to Massachusetts. We hit your bookstores, we hit ours. I would love that. Or a library. Yeah, libraries local, libraries wherever you happen to be over the summer. There we go. I lost my mouse died. I've got to jiggle the battery. Okay, it is time for a trivia question. First person in the chat box to get this right gets a new journal for either bookish related journaling or summer bucket list or whatever you'd like. I love this thing. I bought myself like 3 of them because I don't want to run out of it. It's kind of small. It's got a nice open, the teal end papers, but the lines aren't too wide, aren't too college ruled, and they're light, but not too light. I love it. And it's got the little snappy strap. So first person in the chat box to get this question right will get the book journal. So let me open my chat box so I can find it. Okay, ready? What was the best-selling book of 2022? And then I'll give you a clue if it's just too big of a question, but we're a bookish group. I didn't want to make it easy. Best-selling book of 2022. And don't ask me by who and from where and which site. We're just putting a blanket statement. Someone somewhere very well known and who has bookish data says this was the best-selling book of 2022. Ooh, good guess, Michelle, but no, that should have been. I love that book. Laura, you rock. The second guess in was it. It was Colleen Hoover's It Ends With Us. So woohoo! Let me jot that down so I remember who to send it to. So you can, I haven't read it yet either. You can either private, oh, you may have already private messaged me or email, but just make sure that I get your address. And that's the journal. Okay. Oh, so Karen's read it. Oh, good. I'll have to add that to my summer stack. Oh, and there's a sequel. Oh, you're right. There's a sequel. He's on fire. My goodness. Okay, oh my gosh, it is almost 11. Let's crowdsource a few titles. I always end a little later. And if you have to go, I completely understand, but I don't want to end without us sharing some titles from our summer TBRs. So I'm going to put up on the screen what mine are. These are books that are really recently published. I've got a whole stack of books that I still haven't read from a long time ago, but I'm letting myself get some brand new ones to keep me jazzed up for the summer season. So I've put these in the handouts and they're clickable. So you'll be able to click on them and see if it's a book that works for you. But I've got Watch Us Shine, The Paris Daughter that I'm hearing absolutely everywhere. Holler Child. Dawn, I thought you'd be proud of me with I'm Not Done With You Yet because it looks way more revenge and scary-like than any other book that I'm usually reading. And Christy Woodson Harvey's The Summer of Songbirds. So tell me in the chat box, what's a book on your summer stack that you want to read? This is a little good form of accountability again. What's a title? Maybe you've bought it already. Maybe it's already in from your library hold. Or maybe you're just going to buy it and treat yourself as a way to kick off the summer reading season. what book is a book that is on your summer TBR? Pull back up my chat box. The Little Beach Street Bakery. Yes, yay. Demon Copperhead. That is a book. It's sitting on my shelf right now in my TBR section. I'm hoping to get to that one too. Earth's the Right Place for Love. Oh, Happy Place, 5-Star Weekend. Michelle, you've got lots. The sequel to Beartown. Yes. I need to read that one. I love Beartown so much. I think we had said that was the longest we have ever talked about a book in book club because that book was so amazing. Another Demon Copperhead. Ooh, Oceanography of the Moon. Violin Conspiracy. Yeah, I'm hearing a lot of great things about that too. Youth. Oh, I love that author. Hello, Beautiful. There are a lot of great titles in here. The Bookwoman's Daughter. Oh, you'll love that. You'll love that. I love that series. Yeah, so my summer is going to be a mix of reading what I have, I hope, and getting some new titles. As I mentioned, these are all fairly new titles. I found them either in that book page magazine at my library, or the ones that I notice I'm constantly seeing on Goodreads or coming through my bookish email. Those are the ones that end up on my list. And so I'm hoping, I don't know which one I'm going to start with yet, but those are going to be on my top 5. And I will take these notes and compile these books together so that we've got a record of them when I send out the email to follow up. Let's see. One more trivia question. Get your chat box ready. This will be for a book journal. I know a couple of you, more than 5, already won one when we first came in, but it'll be one who hasn't won one yet. Here it is. Go back to 1995, okay? In what 1995 poem did Maya Angelou declare, "Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model's size"? This is my favorite poem. 1995 Maya Angelou poem. Pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model's size. Yeah, Brittany, phenomenal woman. Love, 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 love that poem. And you didn't get a book journal. Oh, no, you did. I'll have to send you something else. Let me jot that down. You were one of the first ones in, so there we go. We will trade that off. I hope I have good enough notes to remember what everybody is getting. If you don't know that poem, oh, I love it. I love it. I remember Oprah reading it, which is why I think I loved it so much. Okay, just a couple of things to close out so I don't keep you too long. If you're already not inside my Get Literate Facebook group, that's the free group that everybody can be part of. You can just search for it on Facebook and I'll let you right in. We talk about what we're reading on Mondays. I put my blog posts and podcasts there, and it's anything bookish. We have the Get Literate Patreon feed where it's a little bit more. So you get an extra podcast episode on Sundays, and then we have book clubs and live events, and my favorite First Chapter Fridays, where I read the first chapter of a book. Maybe it's adult, maybe it's middle grade. But I've also got 2 other things coming up this summer I wanted you to know about. If you are an educator, I am doing a book study, a book club on my book, Leading Literate Lives. And it's going to be a 4-week session where we do a lot of this. We're first going to focus on our own reading and writing lives, and then think about how we can take those lessons to the classroom in the fall. And then in July, I'm doing something brand new. It's just a 2-hour workshop on restorative reading for wellness. So it's about kind of the health, the emotional, physical, cognitive benefits of reading and how you can get the most out of them. I'm doing one in person if you're up in Lake George and you want to do an outdoor workshop. But then I'm also going to do it online. So I'll put some of those reminders in the email as well. One last thing. How do you find the group? Laura, the Facebook group, if you want to join, you can just type in Get Literate. But let me put in the chat box to everyone, the Get Literate group that, thank you, Amy and Michelle were just talking about, is getliterate.co. It's $5 a month. It's bonus episodes on Sunday, the first chapter Friday, some fun live events. So I put that in there. And then the last prize is for those that do homework. So if you post somewhere, I'm trying to kind of get the word out about my podcast, about my group. If after this is done, you post something on social media about it, that you had a great launch party, or here's the book that I'm reading because someone recommended it, tag me on social media. And those that do over the next couple of days, then you'll have the chance to win what I'm calling a bookology session. I've just been having fun with words. Bookology in my made up dictionary is the study of books and reading and notebooks and writing and mindfulness and creativity to just have a life you love. And I'm the bookologist, which is the person that chooses books for people to help make their reading life really great. So if you post about it and tag me so that I can get the word out about the podcast even more, then you can have a chance to win a personalized book list, which I know many of you in the group have, and a personalized session where we can talk about the books and do all sorts of fun things. So that's if you want a little bit of extra homework. That is it for me. Thank you for staying a little bit later. I've got my giveaway list. I'm hoping I don't mess the things up. I think I took good notes. I will pull your addresses from the notes, or if you sent me an email. And thanks for coming. I'm hoping this got you a little jazzed up, got you some titles to think about. I know we ran out of time, but I hope that you have a really great reading season that's got the rules you love, and you make it a ritual, and you have fun connecting with other people. And don't forget, August 17th, little accountability email check will be coming through. It's already on my calendar, so don't worry. I won't forget. You just put that in there, Michelle. Perfect. All right, everyone. Thank you. I hope you have a good rest of the day, and I'll hopefully see you online soon talking about all our summer reading.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye, guys. Oh, good. Amy, I'll send you the link to the book study.
Great. Thank you.
It was good to see you.
You as well.
Bye.
Bye.